Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Anth, and,
Ladraxian, give
well,
up this foolishness.
if you
We
knew
have
me back in
already
the
won.
day, you would know that
You
I'm a
put
bit of an
all of
altaholic.
Silvermoon in danger.
Um,
This isn't worth the
so
risk.
this is an alt, another one,
There seem to be a few pieces
another
missing.
character that I
We have
made.
to
This is
find them if
actually
we're
a
going to
Void
stop
Elf Demon
Ladraxian.
Hunter that I've decided to make specifically for the Devourer spec, because I just wanted to thematically Void Elf and Void themed um, spec, just, for the role play and all that stuff. But anyway, since making this character and leveling it up, I think I'm, what, 84 now, something like that. Yeah, 84. I've kind of figured out how to play Devourer. I'm still learning. It's a little bit of a learning curve. There's a lot actually, more management than I originally thought. And that's a good thing because it actually is way more engaging than my first go around with it. And I'm having a lot of fun now that I've kind of figured out the rotation. But it is, like I said, it's still a learning curve. I'm not perfect at it. But I'm really enjoying it so far. Anyway, I say I'm an altaholic because I've got a rogue that's level 90 now. I've still got my main demon hunter that is level 90, and I've got a paladin level 90. So I've been putting in the work leveling up characters instead of, like, gearing my main. And part of that is really because I kind of got bored with my main, not for, not gameplay wise or anything like that, but because I'm not in a guild or anything, and it's kind of boring just playing the weekly stuff without, like, a guild to really experience it with. And I'm doing LFR queues and stuff like that, and it's the same weekly grind, which, isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, like I said, it's kind of boring. So I've been playing a lot of alts and leveling up and just kind of experiencing the story over again. But all that being said, I'm having a really good time with this Devourer spec now that I kind of figured out what I'm doing with it. So my biggest thing right now with the Devourer spec, and I think this is kind of just overall how the spec plays, there's just not a lot of AoE going on. There's cleave potential with the hero talents, but it's not like a ton of damage. So, like, in these small like trash pulls and everything like that, I don't feel like I'm doing a ton of damage. I mean, you can see the damage meter over here to the left. Obviously there's a hunter in here that's going absolutely crazy on the damage, but I've kind of figured out the single target rotation enough to where I feel pretty confident that, at least it seems like I know what I'm doing, because in past dungeons and stuff I've topped damage meter. So we'll see how I do on this fight right here. You see? I mean, not bad. I wasn't number one. I was number one for a while, but that hunter came back and beat me. Like I said, I'm at level 84, and, I don't have a 136 item levels, literally just questing gear. And it's Ebon Vale. Ebon Vale is level 81. And, oh yeah, they've got previous
My
expansion.
vision has never been clearer,
High
Lord
level
Raxian,
item gear.
but I don't
High
want to
item
believe
level.
it.
There's none of this in here is questing gear. That's all from heroic raids, it looks. So I don't feel bad that, you know, I was just barely below them in the boss fight there. Now, obviously, this is, you know, just regular dungeon finder. You know, I'm not paying attention to boss mechanics or anything like that because you don't really need to in this level of dungeon. So I'm sure my damage would drop off in like a heroic or definitely mythic plus. You know, assuming gear level and everything is actually on par, my damage would probably fall off just because I actually have to follow mechanics and everything. But I would say the same thing for that hunter too. But anyway, I am really enjoying the gameplay because, like I said, it's engaging. So whenever we get this fight started, so I'm casting Consume. That's my main, you know, spammable button. And then you see the purple orbs that are going around everywhere. I have to kind of pick those up to empower my Void Metamorphosis. Once I get enough stacks, I can actually go into Void Metamorphosis. And also it gives me Fury so that I can cast like Void Ray. And that does a decent amount of damage at this point. But it does empower my Reap. So that is my main damage dealer whenever I'm in this form. So we'll go. So that's basically the gameplay loop is, you know, consume, you spam that, you kind of keep Reap on cooldown, and you pop Void Metamorphosis whenever you get 30 stacks, right? And then when you're in Void Metamorphosis, you're building up stacks. You're trying to prolong that as long as possible, right? Your time in, because it boosts all your abilities, all that. And on top of that, you're building stacks again for Void or Star Collapse or something like that. I forget what it's called. But anyway, you're building all those stacks, and once you get 50 stacks or 30 stacks or something like that, you're able to cast Void Collapse, which is a big AoE damaging ability, and eventually you spec into where it's always a crit. So it'll do a ton of damage if you can manage to stay in Void form long enough. Here, Collapsing Star, that's what it's called. See, that was a big amount of damage, and again, AoE spell, always good to have a big AoE crit. Best thing is, when you're casting Consume, you can cast while moving, so you're able to actually pick up all of the orbs and everything, which is kind of the point. You're having to actually, you know, be engaged and just, you know, to maximize your potential. You're continuously casting and gathering orbs, so that way you can actually get into your void faster, and you're maximizing your Void Ray because all these orbs give you Fury and all that good stuff. It's kind of weird though because I'm not used to playing a caster, so like staying in the back, realizing that I don't have to go up into the fight is kind of weird for me. Again, I'm not used to it. I know there's usually different mechanics and stuff. Range DPS versus melee DPS. Melee DPS, I feel like most of the time you can actually tunnel vision and just, you know, don't stack on the tank most of the time, blah 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 kind of thing. You're fine.
I do not have a target.
Attacking the immune. Smart.
I need to
Anybody has any tips on Devourer, comments.
Eliminate these intruders or be devoured.
Oh, I got feared. Dang it.
I require a target.
We got the last conduit. Make sure to send them.
I require a target.
Realize I haven't said anything for a while. Well, you're gonna see a big cut in the video because that was anyway.
Farewell,
Um,
old friend.
That was my Void Hunter. Void Hunter? Demon Hunter. Devourer, Demon Hunter. Voidy Ant. Whatever. Ah! I always do that. There. Go.
It's over.
Looking all sexy.
Come
Anyway, this was Ant.
through the
I hope
portal.
you enjoyed that video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.